Our exploration of the Murray River by various means, but mostly kayak. And we begin in Renmark in the Lower Murray. It's in South Australia. Famous as an old irrigation town when they were opening up the outback to colonial settlers.
3, 2, 1, go.
Our double kayak cable we launched near the Big Four campsite, fully loaded with lots of dry bags and provisions for 3 or 4 days. We paddled down river toward under the bridge and towards the lock, which is Lock 5, one of 13 on the Murray River. You can bypass some locks. We have wheels, but the lockkeeper kindly opened the lock for us on this occasion and had a chat with us. And you see that dial up there shows the flow of the Murray.
Really looking forward to it.
And there is not much flow at the moment.
Yeah.
It's 3 gigalitres or something.
Okay.
These locks are vast things, and it's quite imposing when you see the drop. It's probably about 15-foot drop of the water level to get to the Murray, the Lower Murray. Beside it, there's a large weir as well, and you can see the difference. The Murray is comprised of all these locks. Here we are at our first morning tea stop, and if you look carefully, you'll see that we've lost our rudder. We hit a sandbar, rudder's gone, and that's bad news because that affects the stability of the kayak as well as the steering. So it was a difficult day. It was about a 7 or 8 hour paddle that we had to do without a rudder, and so it was very hard work for us as we paddle along. And as I say, there's very little flow, so it really does involve paddling. You don't get anywhere by just sitting on the river and looking around. But the tranquility is quite amazing on the Murray. It's absolutely amazing. But we had a very long first day and we couldn't find somewhere to camp, and we ended up on this mud plain, basically a flood plain, and very muddy. But we were pretty exhausted. I think we overdid it on the first day. But we managed to set up the tent in this sort of billabong. Really, it's a billabong off the river, full of wildfowl and also birds of prey. The Murray is full of all kinds of birds, and I was very apprehensive flying my drone, my DJI Mini 3, which I'm not very accomplished at using, because the whistling kites in the region were chased it a couple of times, but we had a bit of a laugh with the drone and got ourselves rested and got the fire going, and generally got ourselves sorted out. You can see how arid this is. This is one of the wildest parts of the Murray. This is the Lower Murray in South Australia, south of Renmark, as I've said, and beautiful wild country you can really enjoy if you've got a kayak. You can do it with a tinny as well, but you've got the noise and everything.
Only a few 3rd degree burns.
So this is me repairing the broken rudder. I chopped it apart and then stuck a smaller part of it using my trusty Leatherman, and then made a jury rig with a piece of string as a deployment, so I could pull it up and down. So this really saved our bacon by doing this, because we got much more stability and steering. So next morning, billy on. Getting out of here was pretty tricky because it's so muddy. Carol took the kayak out onto the deeper part, and then we continued our way south downriver. beautiful weather. This is September, and it's an ideal time to be on the Murray. Really, the water's cold, the evenings are cold, but you know it's so beautiful. There's the jury rig of the. Our next campsite was much more picturesque on a sandy spit. After about, we had a shorter day, maybe a 4-hour, 5-hour day, and so we're technically in South Australia now on this side of the river, and well, actually the other side is South Australia as well, because we're now across the border. Beautiful foliage, and you know you've got to watch for falling branches and you know dead wood up in the tree canopy. You've always got to check that before you camp. You know, the river gums, the red gums, and the most infamous, the ghost gum, will drop a limb on you when it feels like it. Practicing again with the DJI Mini 3. As I say, not very accomplished with it, but it's our eye in the sky, and it gives us real perspectives. As you can see here, it shows this vast reach of the river that we've camped on, and absolutely tranquil in the evening. We saw one other group of kayakers who were. That was, you know, all we've seen. A few tinnies on the river, and not much else. Very tranquil, and I use a separate controller for the drone, which is good for us beginners.
Sniffed it before dinner. Chili con carne and rice in the billy.
Cooking dinner.
Woo!
Enjoying the tranquility.
Pretty hot.
Waking up in this beautiful environment is just a privilege. It really is. Dawn chorus. Back on the river, you notice we're wearing buoyancy aids as required, and the kayak has inherent buoyancy bags I've built into it. The river, you know, is like, here's another feature of the many houseboats. Lots of sandy bits in the river you can stop at and have morning tea, and we're nearing the end of our journey here as we approach the little village of Lyrup, which is going to be our end point, and where I call a taxi from Renmark to come and get me so I can go and retrieve our car, which we've left upriver, of course. It's a beautiful little hamlet, this Lyrup, and yeah, the map shows where we've arrived and where we set off from Renmark, the typical twists and turns of this most beautiful river, which makes its way down to the sea at South Australia. Such an absolute beautiful place to kayak.